Hi, my name is Alexander Irwin. I'm with Dance Film SF. At the San Francisco Dance Film Festival's virtual red carpet this year, I had the absolute honor of speaking with the legendary Miss Chita Rivera. Of course, you know who Chita Rivera is, but just in case you don't, she is an actress, dancer, singer, and star of the musical theater stage. Some of her roles include Anita in Broadway's West Side Story. She originated the role of Rose in Bye Bye Birdie. She was, of course, Velma Kelly in Bob Fosse's Chicago, and so many more. We just can't name them all. With our themes of jazz and tap this year, Chita Rivera was the perfect pick for us to speak with. She was there the whole time, dancing and working with the best of them: Gwen Verdon, Michael Callan, Maurice Hines. So I was so lucky to have the chance to speak with her, and I'm so happy now to be able to bring you our full discussion here on our YouTube channel. So please enjoy my chat with the one and only Chita Rivera. Thanks for watching. Hello, Miss Chita Rivera. I'm so honored to be here with you. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you for inviting me. And you're in San Francisco. That's great.
We are. We're in San Francisco. We serve the whole Bay Area. You know, we're
Love it.
a very diverse, very international festival.
Love it.
And this year we're focusing on jazz. Jazz is our special theme this year. We have three feature films in which you're featured. We have the Maurice Hines film, we have Merely Marvelous, and we have Uprooted, the history of jazz dance, and you're in all three. So could you tell us, what's your secret to stamina?
Training.
Oh,
Yeah. I
you,
mean, working hard when you first start. First of all, wanting to.
mm,
Really wanting to get the feeling of space, to get the feeling of interpretation, of telling a story without words,
mm,
to get the feeling of the universe. Because the wonderful thing about dancers is that we all belong to a group. We're all very close. We all love to laugh. We all love to share. We all love to communicate with each other, and we rely on each other.
mm.
So it's a world that we have, that we own, that we're a part of, that I am so lucky and so blessed to be a part of, because I'm here today talking to you because, first of all, God said, okay, I'm going to let her hang around. And second of all, I met the greatest teachers, the greatest choreographers, the greatest dancers, and they've all rubbed off on me.
Mm.
So I am representing not just myself, but I think dancers represent each other. When you've been lucky enough, as Gwen and I have been, and so many Matt Maddox and Buzz Miller and all those great dancers that were friends of ours, who have worked with the Jack Coles, for instance. And the kids today don't know who Jack Cole is.
Mm.
So we have to let them know who they are.
Right.
And the Peter Gennaros, these great jazz teachers. And the Bob Fosse's,
Of course.
So
The
there's
great.
lots to be done. And it looks like it's in our hands, doesn't it?
To tell the stories, to keep the stories
Yeah,
alive.
absolutely, to keep the stories alive.
So do you consider yourself a dancer first and foremost? I mean, you are a triple, quadruple threat, but...
No, I'm afraid I am once a dancer, always a
Oh,
dancer. You just you can't help it. I mean, even when Leonard Bernstein with West Side was teaching me how to sing those amazing songs that I sang, and I was out there doing it with all the confidence in the world, I knew there was a little voice in the back of my head that said, you're a dancer. You're a dancer that sings. You're not a singer that dances. And I love that because I love our communication. I think we're very special people. I don't know,
I love that.
I'm lucky. And I learned from Gwen and Maurice and all these great
Well,
people.
we're all dancers on this team, and so we love that. We love that answer. But I do have to say, you're an amazing singer. I mean, your recording with Gwen of Chicago for me is the quintessential Chicago recording.
Well, I'm so glad to hear you say that because we were there, and there's nothing like being there in the room with the creator. There is, when it comes out, when it comes out pure, I'm in goose pimples right now just thinking about it, seeing them work it out, and then you feeling like you've got to get it right so that they can see it as they envisioned it, and so I'll just never forget seeing Gwen on my TV, my black and white TV when I was a kid, and she was, no, I guess it was Technicolor, and and there was this wonderful redhead that was so sexy, but was not crude or rude, and she was just perfect, and she was strong like the guys. I don't dream. I've never been a dreamer. Like, I wish that I could do this, but all of a sudden, I'm in this drum in Chicago, and I have a tie and a cane and tails, and I'm looking, and right in front of me is that woman I saw when I was 13 years old, and I was standing on the stage with her. And a little angel on my shoulder says, "You do realize that is Gwen Verdon in front of you. You're on the same level as Gwen." And I said to you before, I don't dream. And so I didn't dream that. It happened. That's what I want to communicate to the kids, because if it can happen to me, it can happen to them. If it can happen to anybody, it can happen to them.
Could you tell us, as the legend you are, what is your favorite role of all time?
You didn't ask me that.
Did I not?
Well, because my answer is always the same. Pardon me. I came along in a time that they call the Golden Age. It was a time when you went to an audition and there were 200 people, for one job, or 200 people for 7 dancers or whatever. But still, that's a lot of people. And so you got that kind of training. But it also was a wonderful time where a lot of amazing pieces of theater were being done. Ballets were being done. A lot of dancing was being done. A lot of singing, a lot of theater. And so I went from show to show to show. That's why I tell the kids, just be ready. I usually come back to West Side. The only reason why I come back to West Side is because I think that was the first show that kind of distinguished us from most dancers at that time, because it was a very different show. It was one of a kind. It was the first of its kind. And so Carol Lawrence and Larry Kurt and Michael Callan and Tony Mordenti and Baby John and all of these guys in Grover Dale, all of these guys were exceptional. And so I always come back to that because it was the first. But how can I ignore Bye Bye Birdie? How can I ignore, you take a West Side and you flip it over, and if it's a coin, and you take a West Side, you flip the coin over, and on the other side is the reverse of what West Side was. West Side was dramatic and dark and real, and what was happening at that time. And Bye Bye Birdie was laughter. and a cartoon. It was Technicolor. And Gower Champion was totally different from Jerome Robbins and Leonard Bernstein and Stephen Sondheim and Arthur Long. It's so, you know, if you're lucky enough to have those kinds of shows, and like Spider Woman, and The Visit, which is the last show I did, which was really dark. It was about death. I seem to have a lot of shows about death. Somebody dies in most of my shows, but it's always life after death, whatever.
Right.
So I would love to say one specific thing, but I think all of them are a culmination of Chita.
I'd love to talk about the Maurice Hines film. And there's a specific moment in there when you're speaking with Maurice and you're sitting with him and you say, Maurice, there are people in those feet. Could you tell us a little bit about what you meant by that?
Well, first of all, Maurice, there's nobody like him. There's never been and never will be. Even his wonderful brother, who was in himself very special, but they were totally different. And suddenly, one was like cool and laid back and easy and sexy. And then came Maurice with the fastest feet. And clean and hard, really hard. And the love between the two of them was extraordinary. And so when I saw them, I flipped. And I finally met Maurice, and everybody thinks they can tap dance. It's kind of cute, really. Maurice must laugh about it. Because they kind of like shake their feet. And I'll tell you one story about me. Ann Miller got hit in the head in, I think, St. Louis. And so she had to be replaced. And so, Ann Miller, excuse me. And so my agent got in touch with me, and I went, are you crazy? I don't tap dance. I cannot tap dance. And so then I thought, let me give it a whirl. and it was Mickey Callan too. Mickey Callan is a hoofer. Something gave me the courage to say, let me try it. And I went into a rehearsal hall. I had the audacity to think that I could maybe hit the floor, well, my body from the top of my head to my ankles was perfect. It was, right. I had the right things with the shifting and and I tried to imitate her. Do you know, I'm almost embarrassed because the reviewers really should be embarrassed. They actually said in the review that I was a hell of a tap dancer and that I out-tapped Mickey Callan. Now that's a lie. I did look like I was doing it, but I wasn't hitting the floor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was not. You have to, when you're a tap dancer,
it's got to be right.
You gotta hit the floor. Yeah. You gotta make that sound.
Right.
So that was my wonderful experience with tap dancing. But getting back to Maurice, I'm so happy that a film has been done about Maurice because I saw his show.
You do.
Each department was superb.
Mm.
The orchestra, the list of songs that he did, his feeling about his parents and the films that he had about his parents and his brother, and it was just a very, very moving, and I really cared. You go to the theater to care,
right?
and with Maurice, you care.
Is anybody working on a film about you? I know you have your musical, but is there a feature film coming out about you?
Well, not a film, but we're working on a book.
Oh.
And, yeah. And well, what I wanted to do, I was asked years and years ago about, my an autobiography. And it was important to me to have something really to say. And who would I want to say it to? The future dancers, the future of our art. And I wanted kids to have something to work towards and be inspired by. And so I let a lot of time go by. And it's not a tell-all. I really honestly feel that I have been blessed enough to have had a life of extraordinary experiences. And Patrick Pacheco is helping me write it. And Patrick also assisted Terrence McNally on A Dancer's Life, the show that we did on Broadway. So he knows me very well. I trust him explicitly.
Wow.
When I read a book, I'm not interested in, the dirt. I'm just, that's not my style.
Right.
I'm interested in laughter, in art, in giving back, in a circle, not crap. I'm sorry.
No schlock.
No schlock. That's a good word. That's a very good word. It kind of rides the middle. But you know what it's like? It's like, have you ever written a book?
No, I've never written a book. No, short stories, but
okay.
No.
Well, it's like, I've never been to a psychiatrist either, but it's like therapy. Mm-hmm. And it really is sort of a way, you're given another opportunity to live through and connect a lot. I mean, there's stuff that happens that you never realize are attached to something that you do 20 years from then, right. and they're really connected, and it's fascinating.
Can we invite our filmmakers watching, if they're interested in making a documentary about you, that once the book comes out, we can suggest that perhaps our next doc film is Chita Rivera?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be first of all honored that they would be interested, and second of all, yeah. We'll have a lot of laughs. I mean, I insist upon laughing. Well, will you thank everybody for me?
Thank you so much. This was such an honor.
And stay well.